Did you ever glance at a clock and for a split second it looked like time just stopped? The second hand frozen, almost like the universe itself hit pause. Don't worry, you're not secretly Neo from the Matrix. What you just experienced has a name: chronostasis. And today we're diving deep into why your brain plays this bizarre little trick on you. Spoiler, it's weirder than you think. Picture this: you're waiting for a bus. You glance at your watch, and the second hand seems to hang there way too long before ticking forward. You might even shake your wrist thinking, did my watch just glitch? Nope, it's you. Or rather, it's your brain doing some behind-the-scenes editing to keep your perception of time running smoothly. Here's the mystery. Chronostasis literally means time standing still. It's a genuine phenomenon studied in neuroscience and psychology. The most common place people notice it is when looking at an analog clock. You flick your eyes toward it, and suddenly that first second feels stretched. Some people swear it feels like a whole extra beat of time was added. So what's happening here? Is reality bending, or is your brain lying to you? Now, before I reveal the secret, let's take a small detour into how your eyes actually work. You see, every time you move your eyes rapidly from one point to another, you perform what's called a saccade. And during a saccade, your brain literally shuts off your visual input. Yeah, like pulling the plug. This is called saccadic masking. If your brain didn't do this, every quick flick of your eyes would look like a chaotic blur. Imagine watching a shaky handheld camera on fast forward all the time. Not fun, so your brain simply deletes those frames. Poof, gone. But here's the catch. When you land your eyes on something new, like a clock, your brain has to stitch together that missing chunk of time. And the way it does this is both genius and totally misleading. It basically takes the new image of the clock and retroactively extends it backward in time. So that first second you see feels stretched, like it lasted longer than it really did. That's chronostasis in action. Time didn't stop. Your brain just rewrote history to cover its own tracks. Think about that for a second. Your own perception of time is being edited like a bad movie cut, and you never even notice. Except, of course, when you do, with that weird frozen second hand. Now here's where it gets even stranger. Chronostasis isn't limited to clocks. Experiments show it can happen when you look at anything after shifting your gaze. People have reported it with phone screens, moving objects, even faces. One famous experiment had participants listen to a sound right after a saccade. Guess what? They thought the sound lasted longer too. So it's not just vision, it's your entire perception of time being rewritten. Before we keep going, let me ask you, have you ever noticed this in real life? That frozen tick of the clock? Or maybe when you snap your eyes to your phone and swear the screen hung for a moment? Drop your experience in the comments. I'm curious how many of you have actually caught your brain pulling this stunt, all right? So why does your brain do this? The leading explanation is efficiency. Your mind hates gaps in perception. A blank spot in vision or awareness would be disorienting. So instead, it patches over the gap by stretching the first moment you see or hear something. Think of it as Photoshop for time. The illusion smooths out your reality so you don't feel like you're constantly blinking through life. But let's step into the weirder zone for a second. Some philosophers argue that chronostasis hints at a deeper problem, that our perception of reality is always a reconstruction, never live, kind of like a broadcast delay on TV. By the time you experience now, your brain has already processed, edited, and presented it to you. So when you think you're living in the present, you're actually living in the past by just a fraction of a second, which makes you wonder, do we ever experience reality directly, or just our brain's polished version of it? And if you want an even more playful theory, some people online love to joke that chronostasis is a glitch in the Matrix. That frozen clock tick feels so unnatural, it's easy to imagine the simulation just stuttered for a frame. Of course, scientists don't take that idea seriously, but it does make you wonder, if our brains are editing time constantly, how much of what we see and feel is really true? Let's recap what we know. Chronostasis happens when your brain fills in missing time during an eye movement. It stretches the first thing you see, making it feel longer than it really is. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. Without it, your perception would be a mess of gaps and blurs. But it also means your sense of now is always an illusion, stitched together from fragments. So next time you glance at a clock and see time freeze, remember it's not the universe glitching, it's your brain playing editor. And in a way, that makes our experience of reality even stranger, because every second we live has already been revised. Here's a question for you. If your brain can edit time so seamlessly, what else might it be editing without us noticing? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if this little time-bending journey gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe to BuzzFlixStories, and check out our next deep dive, where we uncover another bizarre mystery of the human mind. Because sometimes the strangest stories aren't buried in history, they're happening inside your own head.